Hello, welcome to Live Online Training with myself, Mark Cartwright. Today we're going to look at engaging your students, very much using that smart technologies software for that as well. This session was done live on the 20th of May. So if you joined us live, thanks for coming back again and watching on YouTube. If you missed it, then hopefully it'll be beneficial for you to do as well. And there's be a link below actually to sign up for the next video as well. And so you can have a chain of this and actually join live every other week as well, which would be good. So I've already just briefly introduced myself, so I will just briefly say that as a former educator, primary school teacher, absolutely thoroughly loved it, but it's that combination of trying to get the software, the hardware, with that best teaching practice. Really, I did see that the outcomes in my classroom, they were just brilliant. So hence why I'm now trying to support you to try and help you to get better outcomes as well. So if you do want to ask any questions, some came up when we had the live session. So if you do want to ask them any questions of your own as well, then please feel free to do so. Just email me directly, markhartwright@smarttech.com, or of course, just leave a comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So jumping into this bit here, just the objectives to look at today when we are looking at Engage. So that's also, we're going to look at some of the new features that were released in the smart online software as well. So it's looking at combining resources. How can we take a PowerPoint? How can we take a PDF? How can we take a smart notebook file? How can we take an online file as well? Bring them all together so we've got one lesson ready to engage rather than jumping between a few of them. So we're going to look at that. How can we change one of those pages to an individual handout for multiple students to look at? How can we come together in a collaborative workspace? How can we engage through text as well as ink as well? And looking at how can we change one page, duplicate that page so that we can send it out to different ability groups or in any way like that. And then we're going to look at how to engage students as well through a range of different activities as well. And I have just put a note on there as well as one of the new features that's also been released is that faster inking when you're actually in the online software as well. So let's jump in, let's have a look. So I'm now going to open up a web browser. So what I've done here to get into my teacher account, you can see this is my teacher name. I've just put Mark Cartwright. I could change that to Mr. Hartwright if I wish to. And then that is my class ID, which is linked to my smart learning suite license as well. So that's the teacher side of things as well. If I just go up in here, I'm just going to open up a separate browser. So this one here, I'm going to go in as a student. So in this case here, as a student, I go to hellosmart.com. So that takes me to this page here. Now, if I was going in as a teacher, like I've just done beforehand, I would sign in through my teacher link here. Or students could sign in with their Google or Microsoft credentials to go through there. Or just in this case, I'm going to sign in as a guest. Now, for the guest access, they're going to sign into the class using the teacher's ID. And the teacher ID is the one I just showed a moment ago, which is that 162353. And that is mine linked to my account. And then it's going to ask for the student's name as well. So let's just put that in as Mark. And now that one there is my student one. So back to my teacher one here. And before I start, I want to get some lessons ready. What I could do, I could use some of those resources I've got already stored wherever I have, or I could actually grab one of these resources here from Explore Resources. So in here, there's lots and lots of different ones. There's some really, really good ones within here. Categorized, you can search for them, or if you want to look at topics and collections, there's some favorites, and these change depending on what might be globally happening. Like we've had an Earth Day recently, so that one's up on there as well. So I'm just going to grab one of those, and actually I had one beforehand and got that one ready and put it into it, and that is figurative language. So I can teach figurative language to my students, and let's just have a look at that lesson. So I'm going to click on these little dots and click on Edit. So now this is my lesson here. I can change the layouts, I can look at any of these. And actually right at the end of this, I have got a picture in there, and how can I actually add that one? So I can delete that page, so it's in there. Or if I wanted to add it into it, I can add it and I can import the resources, which is a brand new feature that's on the online software now. So in this one here, if I click on this drop down here, I can either go to My Library or I can go to local storage. If you are in a Chromebook, the same would apply. You just have a link to your G drive and then you can just grab it straight from there and put it straight into this one here. So I'm just going to go back into My Library, and it's looking into the library of resources that I've got in the online software. And you can see this is the one here that I want to add in, which I already had done, but I'm just going to add it in again. So I click on that lesson there. I don't want any of the other lessons. I could scroll down, click that one, select that one. I'm now going to then take that lesson, which is already in my Smart Learning Suite, the online version of the software here, and I'm going to put it all into one space here. Now, which page do I want? Now, this document has only got one page in it, so I'm just going to select that page. Yeah, definitely select that one, add that one, and then it's going to take that one page PowerPoint it was, and then put it straight into this lesson as well. So if I scroll down now, you can see that that page there is now in that lesson, good to go. And if I wanted to duplicate that one as well, I can click on those three little dots and click on duplicate that one. So now I have got 2 pages there. Maybe if I wanted to send to one ability group and one for another ability group, and so I've got them slightly differently, I can have that one there. Maybe I want to scroll up and this one here about metaphors. I could again duplicate that one. I could annotate on it any way I want to in that sense there. So I'm just going to finish editing now. And actually I'm going to come back in. I'm going to add some more stuff as well. So I'm going to edit that one again. And I'm going to scroll down right to the bottom. So once they've done all their work, what I'd also like to add in is import a resource, but rather than going to my library, I'm going to local storage. Like I said, this is a Windows machine, so you're going to have that experience. If it was on a Chromebook, then you'd have that Google integration in there as well. So you can see here's that PowerPoint I've already added in, and now I can take a Smart Notebook file, I can add that one in as well, and that's going to be uploaded onto there. Now this Smart Notebook file that I am importing at the moment is taken from Smart Exchange. On the Smart Exchange, it's a bit like the resource bank that we had on there, but on there's loads more lessons as well, and that was a notebook file that was uploaded actually by our Smart Ambassador, Guy Colbrook, who's based here in the UK as well. So there's some fantastic lessons. So if you want to look at his, then feel free to do so. But the one that I've chosen, it fits really well, and there's some really, really good games just to make the students more engaged in their learning as well. Just whilst that one loads in there. So now you can see that's all loaded in, and you can see these are the lessons and the pages that I want. So as fantastic as these are, Guy, I'm just going to exclude those for now, and I'm just actually going to import the games and the assessments into my lesson here. So once I've chosen the pages that I want, or I can select them all, I can click add, and then all of those are going to be combined into my one lesson that I'm ready to share and deliver to everyone in my class here. So you can see here, these are at the top. And I've got those games, got those assessments ready to go. If I wanted to move any of them around, I can just drag and drop and put them down wherever I want to, or rename them, edit them, so they're exactly what I need for my class. So let's finish editing there. So I've got that ready lesson. I've taken a PowerPoint, I've taken a notebook file, I've got my online one as well. I've combined all those resources so it's ready to go. It's really keeping those students engaged with their flow of their lessons. So now this time, as I click start on this one, you can see from my student point of view, which is over here, and my teacher view over here. Let's just move that one again. There we go. So this is my teacher view, and then that is my student view. And as you'd expect from the online software, as I click next, it goes next onto there. And I'm just going to jump down for the students actually going on to this page, so we can begin to discuss figurative language, we can learn what it is, we can have that discussion together. Maybe it's this point here, the fact that I've got it's an interactive resource to keep them engaged, keep them moving, even just like a simple pull tab with these happens here. And when I'm talking about them, when I'm discussing with them, they're happening for their students as well. Also, what I can do is if I wanted to add any annotations on this, I could be circling this bit. I could talk about a particular word class and looking at those there. Or maybe actually now I can add text as well. So straight within the lesson when I'm delivering it, which is a new feature as of now, I can add that text. Obviously I can change it to the way I want, but I can actually type into that as well. Might be quite useful if we are teaching remotely still in any circumstances of that hybrid approach, that then the students you can type for them, which is sometimes neater than trying to write with a mouse, which isn't obviously the easiest thing to do. But we can annotate and we can add in text there. Excuse me. So then coming back into my whole lesson, I can scroll down now. If I wanted to look at that metaphor page that I had, briefly spoke about, what I can do with this one is actually create it into an individual handout. So if I click on my people at the side here, I can scroll down and I can see oops, clicked on the wrong one, there we go. I can now change that to an individual handout or a collaborative handout. So the fact that I've changed it to an individual handout, it gives a copy for all the students, as you can see here. And then as the student clicks start and that clicks go, the teachers can start on here. A fantastic way of actually engaging with your students in any way, whether it's for homework, whether it's in the classroom, wherever they might be, that you can actually see, look, they've started it. They may not have done anything, but they've had a go, they've started it and didn't know where to go. But if they have started and actually added any context, they've written it, whatever it is, they've underlined the key parts within this, what it is, they've added text, they've added pictures, they've added links to videos, whatever it might be, they've got that input there. And then as a teacher, you can go into that individual student's work and see that they have done that homework or they have done that individual work within class or whatever it is. And again, now we're combining those resources as well. This might be actually taken a PDF, I might be taken from a test paper, and you're including page 1, page 3, and page 10, and actually combining that into your resource as well for that one there. And another, like I said, so that was the individual handouts. The other one, what we looked, that I mentioned in the objectives, was the collaborative space. Now, looking at this page here, again, I've moved this page on. It's moving on for the students as well. We're all coming together with that one there. But with this one here, I want us to actually collaborate together on this one. So I'm going to click on that collaboration session. And now all the students are connected, will be collaborating together on this one page here. So if I put everybody on with one team, obviously, if you've got multiple students, then you can put them in multiple different teams and change the names, change the people around as well. But as then for students is then inking on this, they might be circling, might be underlining, might be actually adding keywords within as well. It's going to show up for the teacher. And I can see that Mark, that attribution kind of point here, that Mark has added one of those there. So that's that collaboration side of things as well. But maybe what I'd like the students to do now is once they've done that, once they've learned it, is have a bit of a play with their learning as well. So if I click on the pages here, and I'm going to start everybody, I want you all to have a go at this game. But actually, when you finish that game, when you've had a play, I'm going to change the people to go to student paced. So now the students can go up and down the lesson as they want to as well. So you can start that game, maybe as a student you've played that game already, and you're wanting to go up to the next one and actually sort between the metaphors and similes as well. So again, these are the games that I've imported from the Smart Exchange. This is one that's a teacher guy, like I said beforehand, has already made these lessons. And then we can use them in that one flow of the lesson rather than jumping out from one, jumping into another one. It just keeps that flow and everything in the same place. It keeps the students active, keeps them engaged in your lesson rather than saying, oh, just wait a minute, I've got to go into this, wait a minute, I've got to do into this. It keeps the flow of it all in one place, which is absolutely fantastic. And then they can go through these resources at their own pace or go back into their collaborative spaces or go back into the individual handouts as well. So hopefully, in a bit of a quick whistle-stop tour, we've looked at a lot of those new features. We've looked at combining resources. We've looked at individual handouts, which has been around from the online software for quite a while, as well as the individual workspaces. And absolutely fantastic those are. Thoroughly recommend trying some of those out. We've looked at adding text right through teacher or through a student view as well. We've looked at the multiple ability groups. What I was going to show there is the fact that if we came to that spooky, scary castle, whatever your figurative language might be, that you could have one student, one set of students, one ability on one page, and you can duplicate it across. If I just show that within the lesson as well. So if I've got this, actually, let's do it for this one here. Hyperbole battle. So if I click on these three dots here, I can actually delete the page straight within my file, or I can actually duplicate it as well. And you can see now I've got the two, and I can change this one into an individual handout, or that one to an individual handout. This one here, I'm actually annotating, I'm actually scaffolding a better way. So they've got some support, they've got some starting points. So then they can have a go at this one as a starting point, and then they can go back to that one if they're looking at more advanced as an example for that there. So here we are back onto there. So it's multiple different groups helping to engage the students in that way. And then that's a range of activities as well. Now we've looked at a few of those activities, but also those activities we can add more if we wish to, or create our own for our classes. So I can edit this lesson now, or I could go back to home and jump into a different edit and edit that one. But I'm just going to edit this particular lesson. And you can now see there's my table page. These are some of the gamification, some of the activities that I put into that as well. or Guy did, thanks Guy. And now what I can do is add, rather than importing resource, I can import and create a game, or there's some different things down here as well. So these game-based activities are all in here, and this that fill in the blanks one that we saw with dragging in the words, that was in there as well. And if you want to have a look at any more of those and include those as well, including the word search that's been added recently as well. So there are lots and lots of different ways to engage your students with those activities online as well, and then that can just be part of your lesson flow as well. Let's just jump back up into here. So there is a range of activities. So we've looked at those, we've looked at the few new features that have popped up in the online version of Smart Software today as well, and that's all there. So my challenge for you, now you've kind of seen these, is how are you going to use them? But how are you going to use them to engage your students? Don't just go, oh, I'm going to try the faster inking, that's going to be great. I'm not just going to try duplicating pages, but why would you use duplicating pages? Why would you use some of those assessments? Why would you use some of those games with your students to engage them, to be part of your learning, whatever it might be? I'd love to hear how you do those, or how you're using individual handouts, how you're using the collaborative workspaces as well. If you share them on social media, that'll be amazing. If you want to send me them directly, feel free to do so. If you do put them on social media, use the hashtag #WeAreSmart, and then we can all learn together as well whilst we're online. And in that kind of learn together point here, feel free to use whichever social media platform you wish to. This point here, I'm just going to pause. We did have a few questions that turned up live, so I'm just going to answer those now.
Games here, and back to Andy's question you asked right at the very beginning, I'm just going to edit this lesson. So if I edit this lesson here, what I've got is back to where we had at the beginning. We can edit these and look at them. If we've got one of these games within Smart Software Online, we can edit this. And then I'm clicking on the game and I can edit this game. Now you can see this is the text here and this is the defined blanks here. If I wanted to change this one and have ocean and not glass, I can click next. I could choose a different background. I could even customize the background to whatever I want it to be. I could even choose that scary house if I wanted to put that one in there, click finish, and then that game is edited and I can use that within the classroom as well, or send it out wherever I want it to be. If I'm doing it within Smart Notebook, if I added one of these assessments here, these activities, I can make them by clicking on this kind of space invader at the top here. But once I have made a game, I know it's not the greatest one, but we're just for now. Let's go back to that monsters again. So once I've got that game in here, if I wanted to edit it, what I can do is click on this little pencil at the top here. And now I've clicked on that pencil there. I've got that edited stage back up here. And from there, you can obviously see that I can change the word and put something slightly more appropriate. But on any of these activities here, even the ones that you download as well, you'll be able to edit them with a little pencil at the top there, or by doing it in the online software by clicking edit your lesson, and then you can edit the actual activities within that as well.
So hopefully you found those questions useful and, well, to be honest, found the answers useful as well. So that was good. So the next one of these sessions here, this is a part of a series. And when we looked at the next one along is looking at share. So how can you share with your students? How can you share with your other teachers? So we're using resources that they're learning in the class, they're learning out of class as well. And we're going to come together for that session there. If you have signed up already, then fantastic, you'll get the information about that. If you haven't signed up for these series, and then we'll continue this on through the year, every 2 weeks, we'll have another session looking at something else and learning a little bit more and often. So if you do want to sign up for these training sessions later on, look in the comments for this in this video, and you'll see the link to sign up as well. Or any other questions that do pop up, then put them in the comments, and then we'll continue to learn together and support each other in that sense there. So thank you very much for joining. That is great. Just as a final point here, if you do want any more information, then do email me directly, put a comment underneath, whether that's coming out to do face-to-face sessions with yourself, whether that's looking at a demo of the software or the hardware, then we can kind of facilitate that as well. Like I said, face-to-face, if that allows, or we can do it remotely as well. And if you do want to have a look at an EdTech assessment tool where it's looking at the holistic approach of your school, of your MAT, then we can look at that and support you to kind of drive better outcomes across everywhere as well, which would be fantastic. So on that note, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for joining or watching, and I'll see you soon. So take care. Goodbye.